be a part of the platform of the Social Service Board, and also to be a part of the Empowering Ethical Elders series, a name which I truly love, and want to say that we have a really wonderful program this season. It's our second, and I think we've graduated to a new level. There's a lot of expertise of people who will be coming on board. One of the things that will happen this time is that we will also have a support group or information and referral opportunity for all of the members, for all of the people who will attend any of our meetings, or maybe not attend, but want to come at 4:30. That's on the first and third Thursday. So we talked about it last year. We said we thought we would do it, but this year we are doing it. So everyone should know that if you have special questions, special concerns, you know someone who has special concerns or questions, that at 4:30 on the first and third Thursday of the month, there will be a time to answer those concerns and to make referrals. I think I will now turn it over to Mark.
Perfect. Thank you. My name is Mark Silberman, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker in New York and New Jersey. My primary focus is the elderly. I also do counseling for children in Hudson County, but it's been my privilege and a real pleasure to work with this Empowering Ethical Elders program for about a year and to become familiar and more in contact with the society. We have, as many of you know, we've had an ongoing first and third Thursday program, and we've really labored to put together a really good selection of presentations for this coming year, and I hope you'll take a look at it and come. There's no charge. But I also wanted to mention and emphasize the telephone number, which is at the top of the brochure. I'm going to repeat it: 212-721-4407. I'm a geriatric care manager I'm in my 12th year now. My practice is called North Star Care and Guidance. I mention this not just to promote my practice, well, that's okay too, but that phone number will connect you to myself and to Rosemary to help assist anybody who calls with advice, with counseling matters pertaining to elder issues, elder family, the same way I do for anyone I work for. And so I really want to promote that. We check back 4 messages daily, and I think we can help you be above and beyond the actual presentations for your personal problems around your family, around yourself, which can allow you to have the benefit of, at least in my part, 12 years of experience, and there's no charge. And I thank you, and I hope I'll see you on the first and third Thursdays. Thank you very much.
My name is Rob Hoffman, with 1 F, because I'm from the Netherlands. And I'm a certified care manager, geriatric care manager like Mark. But I'm also a certified geriatric exercise therapist, AGET. But most of my work I do. I'm one of the coordinators from the Empowering Ethical Elder program. And in that capacity I provide exercises usually at the beginning of the program. As most of you know, when I appear, you have to do something. But first, I also want to mention that I started an exciting new program here at Ethical. Every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, I'll have a class here for strength and conditioning. So you're all welcome to come. But now, to do something, I will ask you to all stand up. You know, you have to do something. After sitting for a while, it's always good to stretch the hip flexors. The hip flexors, muscles here, sitting for a long time, they get tight. So just to stretch them, you put your fist in the back of the small of your back, you push your hips forward, and you take a deep breath in. Breathing in. And relax, breathing. One more time. Push a little further, hips forward, breathing in, stretch, and relax. Thank you. Strength and power to you all.
Now we have the Osborne Association of New York, represented by David Conley, Esquire, and social worker Dana Lamaster.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Wells, for having me here today. It's just going to be me. David's sitting this one out. My name is Dana Lamaster, and I'm a licensed social worker, but I'm also a project associate at the Osborne Association. And we are very honored to be sitting among such distinguished leadership today, and Dr. Ross. Just a really quick history about Osborne. We were founded in 1931 by the family of Thomas Mott Osborne. And basically, Thomas Mott Osborne, to continue his work in criminal justice reform, he changed his life and he changed the city and the town he lived in the 1900s when he went, we like to call it undercover as an incarcerated person, prior to become the mayor of Auburn, New York. And while he was undercover, he decided that he was going to really delve into what it was to be an incarcerated person, and he gained a better understanding and representation of what the concerns were for Auburn citizens as well as its citizens that were incarcerated. So he became a very progressive warden of Sing Sing, and he set the trail as a prison reformer for New York State. So part of what we do at Osborne is to transform lives, communities, and the criminal justice system. We work across the full continuum of all the individuals' involvement with the criminal justice system, starting from their time of arrest through re-entry. So another piece of what we do and why I'm here on behalf of Osborne is that we work closely with the families and children of those who have been incarcerated or are incarcerated and are deeply impacted by this incarceration. And I'm going to talk just a little bit about the children that we serve. I work specifically with the New York Initiative for Children of Incarcerated Parents. We are a statewide partnership, and we work with all types of community organizations, faith-based organizations, as well as city and state local government agencies. And what we've been doing over the last couple of years is working to advocate and safeguard the needs of children and young people that are impacted by this issue. On any given day in this country, there are over 2.7 million children who have a parent who's been incarcerated. So if you break that down, that's about 1 in every 28 children in the United States. If you compare that to 125 years ago, it's a lot higher. Not all are affected equally, and I think that's something that's very unique about this population. Their experiences are diverse, and they're impacted differently, as well as the communities. If we break it down even more, 1 in 9 African American children have a parent that's incarcerated. 1 in 28 Latino children have a parent who's incarcerated, and 1 in 57 white children have a parent who's incarcerated. So if we just take a second to just take all these facts in, you can see that this is a big issue and that a lot of children are impacted. So if any of you or those of you who are up here who work with children, think about this. Chances are that some of your children may be impacted by this issue, and you may not know that they're going through this, and you may not know that their families are being impacted by this, because as you may or may not know, incarceration has a stigma attached to it, and it can be very hard sometimes to self-identify. So if you want to give it a bigger total, we estimate that over 7 million are affected, and that's including parents that might be on probation, or parents that are on parole, or even parents that were incarcerated at some time. And that's a really big number of children impacted by this. So it's a crisis, and it's not only a crisis here in the United States, but it has gained international attention. Just this past September, the UN Committee on Rights of the Child had a day of conference specifically looking at children of incarcerated parents, and we were happy to participate and be able to submit something on behalf of New York State. But as you can see, mass incarceration represents the greatest separation of children and parents ever since chattel slavery. In New York State, we estimate that about 105,000 children currently have a parent that's incarcerated. Now, contrary to what many assume, often what children need the most is contact with their parents. When this contact is meaningful, child-focused, and supported, it can be a positive force in that child's life, as well as the caregiver and the family that are supporting that child. I'll give you an example. Talisha is one of our young people who's involved with our Youth Advisory Board. Talisha's father has been incarcerated for most of her life, yet they have a very close relationship. She attended his graduation recently in Sing Sing, where he received his master's in theological seminary. He read all of her drafted college application essays, and it got to the point that he even drove her crazy about it because he was doing more research and more editing than she was herself. But gratefully, thankfully to the Social Services Board and Dr. Ross, they were able to provide her with a scholarship for her first semester of college, which she just completed successfully. So we're very proud of that. Talisha is not just an anomaly. Children with incarcerated parents are not more likely to be incarcerated themselves. With support and nurturing and opportunities, they, like all children, can fulfill that potential. Recognizing the importance of meaningful contact, we are glad to have been working over the last several years closely with Dr. Harrison Ross and the Social Services Board to expand televisiting for children. Televisiting is sort of an innovative use of Skype-like technology, which allows two individuals to have some type of contact via video conferencing. We see this as a supplement to face-to-face visits when, as I believe the video documented, when distance can be a barrier. Sometimes you need that use of televisiting to supplement that face-to-face. And sometimes other factors, not just distance, but time away from work and school, and just the expense of visiting on food, on transportation, on cabs, on missing a day's pay, and missing a day of school for the child. There are many other factors that can serve as barriers. But we are very excited to be working and partnering with the Social Services Board and with NYSEC to continue expanding televisiting for our children and for all children in the New York City area and New York State. So I'll leave you at last with our goal, and it's an important goal, and we hope that you will join us in this goal, and it is to transform the criminal justice system from a child's eye view. It's very important to always keep that child's experience at the forefront of any type of transformation, as well as lessen the burden of the stigma and the guilt by association that the children face. So we welcome all of you to join us as we pioneer on this transformation. Thank you for this time, and have a nice afternoon.
Good morning and thank you, and I'm so happy to be following the Osborne Society because in fact we do see a lot of children whose parents have been incarcerated, and we've had the pleasure of working with on the supervised visitation program for a few years. Again, it's an honor to be here to the trustees of the Ethical Society, its leaders, Dr. Phyllis Harrison Ross, board member of Northside and friend, and members and guests. Thank you so much for the invitation to speak this morning. I am the executive director of Northside, and certainly honored to be because Northside was founded 65 years ago by Drs. Kenneth and Mamie Clark, and those were the psychologists who did what we often refer to as the black-white doll study, this research study where black children were shown black and white dolls, and most of the children said that they did not like the black dolls, that it was the ugly doll. This study was actually very important to the 1954 Brown versus the Board of Education decision that legally desegregated public schools. So it's always very exciting to be able to talk to people about that, remind them of it, and I don't know if many of you've seen, probably about 10 years ago, well actually maybe 5 years ago, a young 17-year-old woman tried to replicate this study, went into schools in the community, nursery programs, because the study was done with 4- and 5-year-olds originally, and some 7- to 8-year-olds. But she went into the school, to these nursery programs, and filmed the children looking at dolls again. And unfortunately, some of the results she got were similar. But what was very profound was the fact that you saw on film children rejecting the black doll still, but rejecting it in such a way where she said to one child, "Why is the black doll," and I think I'm quoting this correctly, "why is the black doll not the nice doll?" And the child, the 4-year-old child said, "Because it's black." And it was like, doesn't everybody know that? And so we've come a long way, but we still have so very far to go. But what I want to do is thank you for what you've enabled us to do, specifically at Northside with our children's library. In our children's library, we have a small, very welcoming library. We see over 3,000 children and families each year. They come to our library, and our library is actually 37 years old, even though Northside is 65. The Clarks were very much believers in the power of education to transform lives. So although Northside itself is a mental health and educational agency, they very much started after-school education programs. Any opportunity they could think of and do and change and make sure occurred for children to read and learn. So we refer to our library often as the heart of Northside. Children are provided with all kinds of books. They're helped to do homework assignments, to use computers. We see children struggling with mental health issues, learning issues, and living in poverty. And we help them to learn that reading is a way up and out. In our library, we help children learn to read so that they may read to learn. And we help them understand that reading can take them anywhere, and they can become and do anything they like. We use our library to raise self-esteem, to help children develop their sense of self-confidence and mastery. And most of all, we help them to learn and have so many books that are culturally sensitive to whomever they are, as well as to the rest of the world. So we help them to prove to themselves, through reading over and over again, that they can be greater than their circumstances. And our library isn't only used by our children, it's used by our parents and who are waiting for their children who may be being seen by a doctor or a social worker or a tutor. And it's used by social workers to find just the right book on helping children deal with their feelings or death or divorce or having been sexually abused. And even our Northside staff